This is the new Volkswagen Touareg, their new flagship here in Malaysia, with a 3-litre upfront all-wheel drive and R-Line spec. This is quite a hot new entrant onto the scene, and the price promises to beguile. But will that badge be enough to sway buyers? My name is AIMAN, ABDULLAH. This is Malaysian Motoring, and this is our launch coverage of the new Volkswagen Touareg. Now, while other large SUVs like BMW's X5 as well as the Mercedes-Benz GLE use some sort of electrified powertrain, this is pure combustion. This is a 3-litre V6 TSI engine producing 340 PS and 450 Newton meters of torque, with power going to all four wheels via an 8-speed automatic gearbox and 4-motion all-wheel drive. This certainly provides an option for people who are looking for a pure internal combustion large SUV to carry around the family and otherwise just be a bit of a hooligan. Now in Malaysia, we'll be getting the new Touareg exclusively as an R-Line, which is why you get the far more aggressive front and rear end treatments with a far more aggressive face and a far more aggressive bum. And that's also why you get these lovely dual tone alloy wheels wrapped in Bridgestone tires, which certainly look very commanding indeed. The front end of the new Touareg is dominated by these IQ light headlights, which now include matrix LED functionality. With 38,000 individual pixels able to adapt the beam to the situation ahead, that means that these headlights are not only able to run high beam more of the time, they also have features such as a light carpet that illuminates the lane ahead of you. It'll illuminate the lane next to you should you indicate to change lanes. It also has the ability to highlight potential dangers such as pedestrians, cyclists, and other things, as well as highlight or even dim out road signs should you need it. It will even show you a light path ahead should you be driving through construction zones. This is all part of the night sight or night view package available with the new Touareg. Now, as you move down the side, you can see that the new generation Touareg is far better looking than before. This is actually a facelift of this generation, which we never got the pre-facelift here in Malaysia, and this car certainly does look very commanding and it has a certain presence on the road. I love the way this car looks in this lovely topaz blue. You have all of these lovely creases down the side again to highlight the fact this is a very, very large SUV. And of course, because this is simply a 2-row, not a 3-row SUV, there should be plenty of space in the rear, but we'll explore that in a moment. Now, because this is a facelift version of this generation of Touareg, we also get the very latest in terms of rear light design, which includes this lovely LED light bar and this illuminated Volkswagen logo. And I honestly do not know how I feel about that. Now, as I mentioned earlier, R-Line, more aggressive rear bumper, a couple of exhaust exits. Again, it looks rather smart. Now, behind this tailgate, which is obviously powered, you will find a great amount of space back here, more than enough for 5 people's worth of luggage. There is a tonneau cover, which you cannot hide underneath the floor, but you also get a space-saver spare wheel in here should you need it, as well as a subwoofer for the DIN audio system, but we'll get to that in a moment. Now, in terms of folding these rear seats, they do fold 40-20-40, and you can fold them via the pull tethers here. And because the Touareg comes as standard with air suspension, it also means that you can be able to lower the back end of the car should you need it. Although I think this might be it's already in its lowest setting, or maybe it's because the car's off or shy. Volkswagens have really come a long way, and that is very evident the moment you step into the new Touareg. Because your eyeline is now dominated by technology, you have this enormous central touchscreen which is running Volkswagen's very latest operating system, which not only looks good but also operates and responds rather well. That said, however, the air conditioning controls are buried in here as well, so we'll just have to see how usable that is when we get this car out on test. If we get this car out on test. Now, ahead of me sits another digital instrument cluster, which is also much larger than what we've seen before, again running the very latest OS from Volkswagen. Now, again, all the graphics in here look very crisp and they're very sharp, and of course the screen itself looks pretty good, which means you should be able to get all the information that you need, and of course that important radar and night vision system that I mentioned earlier. Now, aside from that, obviously this being a high-end Volkswagen or a high-end VAG product, material quality is fantastic. You have stitched material up here, stitched material up here on the tops of the door cards. You get more soft touch material down here. And honestly, it only gets scratchy when you get to the very lowest part of the doors, if you ask me. And you have this lovely brushed aluminium trim here, although there is, of course, a sea of black plastic down here, whether you like that or not. Now, mercifully, although you still have to control the air conditioning from here, mercifully there is actually a little volume knob down here, which is made to look like the knurling that you get on a Bentley, except when you run your nail on it, you realize that this is plastic. Now, this will be very useful because unfortunately all the controls on the steering wheel are touch sensitive. Now, we have spoken about this before in our reviews of the Arteon as well as the Golf GTI. This steering wheel design is infernal and infuriating to use. And unfortunately, we haven't yet gotten the reverted design which the rest of Volkswagen have done across the globe. But that's okay, because we at least have physical controls for the air suspension, as well as physical controls for the drive mode selector, which include not only on-road but also off-road modes, because as I mentioned earlier, this is an all-wheel drive vehicle. Now, in terms of comfort, these seats are very comfy indeed, and of course you do have 3-stage memory, which should also include memory settings for the wing mirrors, and there's also an electrically adjustable driver's steering wheel as opposed to a passenger steering wheel, which again should feel rather plush and upmarket. That said, however, looking at these seats, they don't look too dissimilar to the ones that you get in other Volkswagens, which I guess at this price point is maybe not so nice. Now, sat in the back of the Touareg, obviously there is an absolutely palatial amount of kneeroom and a palatial amount of headroom. Now, bear in mind, this is not set up in my driving position because this car has a comfort access feature, which means that there is actually even more kneeroom than you might expect here. And because it's a large SUV, this bench is mounted quite high, so you can get quite comfortable, and of course you can tuck your feet in underneath the seat in front of you. Now, this car comes with 4-zone climate control, and as I mentioned earlier, the controls for the front are nestled within the screen, but here you actually have physical buttons, which again I find very strange to have the actual controls back here easier than the ones in the front, but never mind. Now, in addition to a pair of crotch coolers here, you also get a B-pillar mounted aircon vent right at face level, which means being sat back here, you should be able to stay quite comfortable. Obviously, there are ISOFIX mounts with removable covers, which will probably get lost. And of course, these rear seats not only fold, but they can also be reclined separately. So as you can see, I can sit quite upright, or I can lean this car or this seat further back. Behind this panel here, you will find a 12-volt socket, a couple of USB-C ports, and of course you have a deployable armrest with a couple of cup holders like what you'd find on a Porsche Cayenne. Now, if you want to put children back here in child seats, obviously a rear-facing child seat is not going to have any issues in here at all, although trying to get them in through the door might be a little bit tricky. But once they are back here, there are, if I can get this, there we go, deployable sunblinds, which means you can keep your children back here quite safe from UV rays, although obviously these cars come as standard with Volkswagen tint. Now, being a flagship from Volkswagen, the Touareg gets the full gamut of active safety features, which include radar-guided cruise control with traffic jam assist, lane centering, lane departure warning, a 360-degree camera, blind spot monitoring, rear cross-traffic alert with autonomous brake support, as well as a gamut of other features that will all be necessary in a large, luxurious family vehicle like this. And obviously, with that 3-litre V6, you should be able to have a pretty good amount of fun out on a back road, and we certainly look forward to taking this car out on test later. Now, the Volkswagen Touareg will be available in Malaysia in 5 colours with prices starting from 469,800 ringgit. This is inclusive of a 5-year unlimited mileage warranty, as well as a 5-year service package and 5 years roadside assistance, putting the Touareg head-to-head with vehicles like the BMW X5 and Mercedes-Benz GLE. Let us know what you think about Volkswagen's new flagship in the comment section below. Do you think that it can justify this price? And more importantly, is this, you think, the big full-size SUV for you and your family? Let us know in the comment section below. In any case, that has been our launch coverage of the new Volkswagen Touareg. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell icon so you're notified every time we make a new upload. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and join our WhatsApp channel. All the links are in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Take care and stay safe.